Day 1. Reality hits. You wake up, 6:13 a.m. The same alarm you've heard hundreds of times drags you out of sleep. You reach over, turn it off, and stare at the ceiling. For a moment, everything is quiet. No excitement, no opportunity, no breakthrough. Just another morning. Another day that looks exactly like yesterday. You sit up slowly. The room feels smaller than usual. The air feels heavier. Maybe it's because of the bills piled on your desk. Maybe it's because you've been telling yourself for years that things will get better. Or maybe it's because deep down, you're tired. Tired of watching other people move ahead. Tired of seeing success stories online. Tired of wondering when your turn will come. You swing your legs off the bed and stand up. The floor is cold. The house is silent. You walk toward the kitchen and open the fridge. Almost empty. A few leftovers, a bottle of water. Nothing exciting. Nothing promising. Just enough to remind you that money has been tight for a while. You close the fridge. Reach into your pocket. Nothing. The other pocket. Nothing. Then you grab your wallet from the counter, the same worn out wallet you've had for years. You open it, and immediately your heart sinks. $1. That's it. One single dollar. No savings, no investments, no emergency fund, no rich parents waiting to help, no connections, no secret opportunities, nothing. Just one lonely dollar bill. You stare at it for a second. Then you laugh. Not because it's funny, because it's ridiculous. What can you even do with $1? You can't build a business. You can't buy real estate. You can't invest your way to freedom. You can't change your life. At least, that's what you think. You toss the wallet onto the table. And that's when your phone vibrates. Bzzz. You glance at it. Unknown number. No name, no profile picture, no previous messages. Just a single notification. You almost ignore it, but something makes you open it. The message reads, "You have 7 days to turn this $1 into $1 million. You blink, then read it again. Once, twice, 3 times. Surely this is a joke, a scam, a prank from a friend." Then another message appears. No borrowing. Your eyebrows tighten. A third message arrives. No lottery tickets. Then another. No stealing. Your stomach twists. The messages keep coming, one after another, almost like someone is watching you. No rich relatives. No shortcuts. No second chances. The room suddenly feels different, quieter, smaller. You look around. Nobody's there. Just you, your phone, and $1. Then the final message appears. You hesitate before opening it. Your thumb hovers over the screen. A strange feeling settles into your chest. The kind of feeling you get before a huge decision. The kind that changes everything. You tap the notification. The final message reads, "If you fail, you return to your normal life forever." You freeze. No second chance. No retries. No miracle waiting around the corner. Just 7 days. 7 days to accomplish something that sounds impossible. 7 days to turn $1 into $1 million. 7 days to prove that your future is bigger than your circumstances. The clock at the top of your phone changes by 1 minute. Tick. The countdown has already started. You look down at the dollar bills sitting on the table. A few seconds ago, it looked worthless. Now it feels like the most important dollar in the world. Because somehow, some way, over the next 7 days, That dollar has to become 1 million. And right now, you have absolutely no idea where to begin. And suddenly, this stops being a money problem and becomes a thinking problem. The first thing you learn is pretty rough. The dollar itself isn't really worth much. Not literally. You can still buy stuff with it. But when your goal is $1 million, $1 basically feels like nothing. Think about it. Even if you somehow doubled your money every single day, $1 becomes $2. $2 becomes $4. $4 becomes $8. Sounds pretty cool at first, until you actually do the math. After 7 days, you'd only have $128, not $1 million, not even remotely close. You look at the dollar sitting on the table. A few hours ago, it seemed small. Now it feels impossible. For the first time since the challenge started, you start to panic a little, because 7 days suddenly doesn't feel like much time. It feels like no time at all. You start walking around the room, trying to think, trying to calculate, trying to come up with some kind of shortcut. But every idea hits the same wall, the dollar. The more you think about it, the more obvious the problem becomes. You're focused on the wrong thing. The challenge isn't really about growing money. It's about creating opportunities. And those are two completely different things. Money grows slowly. Opportunity can change everything overnight. One phone call can create an opportunity. One introduction can create an opportunity. One conversation can create an opportunity. One decision can create an opportunity. Suddenly, the challenge starts to look different. Maybe the dollar isn't meant to become $1 million. Maybe it's just the starting point, a test, a distraction, a way to force you to think differently. That's when you start noticing something you've never really paid attention to before. Every wealthy person seems to have one thing in common. They don't use money to make money. They use people. At first, that sounds a little weird, but the more you think about it, the more it makes sense. A restaurant owner doesn't personally eat all the food. Customers create the money. A CEO doesn't do every job in the company. Employees create the money. A YouTuber doesn't pay themselves. Viewers create the money. An investor doesn't personally build businesses. Founders create the money. Everywhere you look, wealth seems tied to people, not dollars, people. And suddenly something clicks. The richest people in the world didn't start by asking, how can I multiply my money? They started by asking, how can I solve a problem for as many people as possible? Because when enough people get value from something, money usually follows. You stop looking at the dollar. You stop looking at the clock. And for the first time since getting the challenge, you start looking at the world. Businesses, customers, problems, needs, frustrations, opportunities. Somewhere out there, someone has a problem they really want solved. And if you can solve it, even a little, they might be willing to pay for it. For the first time all day, you feel a little spark of hope. The challenge still feels impossible, but now it doesn't feel random anymore. There's a path. You just haven't found it yet. You grab your phone, open your notes app, and write down 4 words. Find a problem worth solving. Then you get up, because day 1 is going by fast. And somewhere out there, your first opportunity is waiting. So you spend day 1 looking for problems, not money, problems. Because wherever there is a painful problem, there is usually money nearby. At least that's the theory. The reality is much harder. You spend the next few hours walking around town, watching, listening, thinking.
Every business looks fine from the outside.
The restaurants have customers. The stores seem busy. The cafes are serving coffee. Everything looks normal, which creates a new problem. If everything looks fine, how do you find a problem worth solving? The afternoon sun starts beating down. Your feet hurt. Your stomach is growling. And for the first time all day, you begin questioning the challenge. Maybe you're overthinking this. Maybe there isn't some hidden opportunity waiting around the corner. Maybe turning $1 into $1 million really is impossible. 5 hours have passed, and you've made exactly $0. You sit on a bench watching people rush through their day. A businessman crossing the street. A delivery driver carrying packages. A teenager glued to their phone. Everyone seems to know where they're going. Everyone except you. Then something catches your attention. Across the road sits a small restaurant. The food looks good. The location isn't bad. The sign looks professional. Yet hardly anyone walks inside. Something feels off. So you watch. 10 minutes. 20. 30. And slowly a pattern emerges. People walk past, but very few walk in. The tables stay empty. The staff spend more time waiting than serving. That's strange. Curious, you head inside. The food smells amazing. The menu looks decent. The prices seem fair. So why aren't customers coming? A few minutes later, the owner walks by. You strike up a conversation. Nothing serious, just small talk. Then he says something that changes everything. People love the food once they try it. He pauses, but getting them through the door is the hard part. And suddenly, everything clicks. The problem isn't the food. The problem is attention. People can't buy from a business they don't know exists. For the first time all day, your heart starts racing because you finally found something, a real problem, a painful problem, the kind of problem people might actually pay to solve. As the sun begins to set, you look at the dollar still sitting in your wallet. $1. The exact same dollar you woke up with. No profits, no deals, no clients. Nothing has changed. At least not financially. But mentally, everything has changed. Because you no longer have $1 and a dream. You have $1 and an opportunity. And sometimes, that's all it takes for a story to begin. Day 1 ends. Your balance is still $1. But for the first time since the challenge started, you have a plan. Day 2. Your first big risk. You wake up early. Not because you're excited, because you're nervous. Day 2. 6 days remaining. And you're still holding the same dollar you started with. Yesterday you found a problem. A restaurant struggling to attract customers. Today you need to convince someone to trust you enough to solve it. The problem? You have no experience, no results, no proof, no reputation, nothing. You're basically a random person with $1 and a crazy dream. For nearly an hour, you stare at your phone, overthinking everything. What if they laugh? What if they reject me? Then you realize something. The challenge isn't asking you to feel confident. It's asking you to act despite being afraid. So you send your first message, then another, then another. Nothing. No replies, no interest, just silence. By lunchtime, doubt starts creeping in. Maybe this was a stupid idea. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe turning $1 into $1 million really is impossible. Then a notification appears. Your heart jumps. You open it. Not interested. Thanks. A rejection. Not the response you wanted, but at least someone replied. Then another notification appears. This one is different. Interesting idea. You sit up. Then another message arrives. How exactly would you help? For the first time since the challenge began, someone is listening. One conversation becomes 2, then 3. People start asking questions. Introductions follow, and suddenly the challenge feels real. A restaurant owner agrees to give you a chance, not because you're an expert, but because he has little to lose. His tables are still empty. His problem still exists. You spend the rest of the day helping him attract customers. Then it happens. A customer walks in, then another, then another. Not many, but enough. Enough for the owner to notice, enough for him to smile, and enough for him to reach into his pocket. He pulls out cash and hands it to you. Your first deal, $300. You stare at the money, not because it's a lot, because it's proof. Proof that someone had a problem, proof that you helped solve it, proof that value creates income. As you walk home that night, you check your wallet. Yesterday, you had $1. Today, you have $301. Still nowhere near $1 million. But for the first time since receiving that mysterious message, the challenge doesn't feel impossible anymore. Day 3. Something changes. You wake up feeling different. Not because you're rich, not because you've won, but because yesterday someone paid you $300. For the first time since the challenge started, you have proof. Proof that value creates income. As the day goes on, more opportunities start appearing. The restaurant owner tells another business owner about you. That business owner reaches out. Then another, then another. The phone that was completely silent 2 days ago is suddenly buzzing. Questions, meetings, conversations, possibilities. And honestly, it feels amazing. For the first time in a long time, you feel like you're getting ahead. But that's exactly where the danger appears. Because success feels good. Too good. A lot of people get their first win and stop growing. They get comfortable. And comfort is where dreams go to die. You look at the countdown, then at the goal, $1 million. And suddenly, reality comes rushing back. You're still nowhere close. That's when a realization hits you. $1 million isn't earned, it's multiplied. You stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make one action create 10 results? The question changes everything. You create templates. You ask for referrals. You build partnerships. You find ways to repeat what works. And slowly, the numbers begin moving faster. 1 client becomes 2. 2 becomes 5. 5 becomes 10. The snowball is finally rolling. By the end of day 3, you check your balance. $3,000. A few days ago, that would have felt impossible. Now it feels like the beginning. Day 4. The world starts noticing. Something funny happens when people start seeing results. The same people who barely noticed you before start paying attention. The same people who doubted you start asking how you're doing it. The same people who laughed suddenly want to know more. A few days ago, nobody really cared what you were working on. Now your phone keeps lighting up. Friends want updates. Family starts checking in. People who thought you'd fail suddenly want to hear your story. And honestly, it's kind of weird. But then you realize something important. The attention isn't what's creating opportunities. The results are. One client tells another client. That client introduces you to a friend. That friend runs another business. Before you know it, opportunities are coming to you, not the other way around. Your network keeps expanding, and with every new connection, things start moving faster. One introduction turns into a partnership. One partnership brings in new customers. New customers send referrals, and referrals lead to even more opportunities. It's like a snowball effect. And for the first time, you really get how this works. This challenge isn't just about making money. It's about building influence, because influence creates opportunities, and opportunities create money. The bigger your network gets, the easier it is to grow. The machine is finally up and running. As the day winds down, you check your balance. Day 1, $1. Day 2, $301. Day 3, $3,000. Day 4, $20,000. You stare at the screen, still nowhere close to 1 million. But for the first time, the goal doesn't seem impossible. It actually feels doable. And that's when things start getting dangerous. Day 5, the temptation. You wake up and check your balance. $100,000. A few days ago, that number would have seemed impossible. Now it's sitting right in front of you. And honestly, it feels amazing. For the first time since the challenge started, you're not worried about making money. Clients are coming in. Opportunities are showing up. People are taking you seriously. Things are working. And that's exactly why day 5 is so dangerous. Because success has a side effect nobody talks about. It makes you comfortable. You take your time that morning. You grab a coffee. You relax a little. You tell yourself you've earned it. After all, most people would have quit by now. Most people would have failed. You've already turned $1 into $100,000. That's incredible. Maybe it's okay to slow down. Maybe it's okay to enjoy the win. And that's how it starts. Not with failure, with comfort. The most dangerous trap in the entire challenge. A few hours later, you glance at the countdown. 3 days left. Then you look back at your balance. $100,000. Then back at the goal. $1 million. And suddenly, the excitement disappears. Because you realize something. You're only 10% of the way there. 3 days have passed. And you still need another $900,000. The gap feels enormous. For the first time in days, doubt starts creeping back in. What if this is as far as you go? What if you've already peaked? What if you're celebrating too early? The questions keep coming. And that's when you realize something. This is where most people quit. Not because they fail, because the distance left scares them. The finish line still looks impossibly far away. And comfort offers an easy escape. Just stop. Just settle. Just be happy with what you've already achieved. The offer is tempting. Very tempting. Then your eyes land on the dollar. The same dollar that started everything. Still folded inside your wallet. You pull it out and stare at it. And suddenly you remember. You didn't accept this challenge because it was easy. You accepted it because it was impossible. The goal was never meant to be comfortable. It was meant to change you. Right there, something shifts. You stop asking, what if I don't make it? And start asking, what happens if I go all in? You put the dollar back in your wallet, pick up your phone, and get back to work. Because day 5 isn't where the challenge ends. It's where the real challenge begins.
Day 6, the breakthrough.
You wake up and check your phone. More messages, more calls, more opportunities. And that's when you realize something. The work you've been doing for the last 5 days is finally paying off. The first few days felt like pushing a car uphill. Every client required convincing. Every opportunity required chasing. Every dollar required effort. But now, the car is moving on its own. One client introduces another client. That client introduces someone even bigger. One opportunity creates 3 more, then 5 more, then 10 more, and suddenly you're struggling to keep up. The craziest part? Most of it can be traced back to one decision, one message, one conversation, one chance you almost didn't take. For 6 days, you've been planting seeds. Now they're growing fast. The entire day becomes a blur. Phone calls, meetings, partnerships, deals. Every hour feels important. And for the first time since the challenge started, you're not wondering where the next opportunity will come from. You're wondering how many opportunities you can handle. That's when something clicks. $1 million was never going to come from working harder. It was always going to come from leverage. One action creating many results. One relationship creating many opportunities. One system creating many outcomes. Everything starts multiplying, and multiplication changes everything. You finally understand why people talk about overnight success. To everyone else, it looks sudden. To you, it feels earned. Because you remember the ignored messages, the rejection, the self-doubt, the moments you nearly quit. The breakthrough didn't happen overnight. People just noticed it overnight. As the day goes on, the numbers start climbing faster than ever before. $150,000, $250,000, $400,000, then $500,000. You keep refreshing your phone because it barely feels real. Just yesterday, you had $100,000. Now you're watching the gap disappear. By the time the sun starts setting, you check your balance one last time. $643,000. You stare at the screen. Day 1, $1. Day 2, $301. Day 3, $3,000. Day 4, $20,000. Day 5, $100,000. Day 6, $643,000. For the first time, the $1 million goal doesn't feel impossible. It feels close, dangerously close. And that's when your heart starts racing. Because day 7 is tomorrow. And everything you've worked for comes down to one final day. Day 7, the final hours. You wake up to the pale glow of morning filtering through the room and check your phone. $643,000. The number stares back at you from the screen. 6 days ago, you had $1. Now you're over halfway to $1 million. But there's a problem. You still need another $357,000. And you only have hours left. A knot tightens in your stomach. The pressure is intense. Every call, meeting, and opportunity matters. The closer you get to a goal, the scarier it becomes. Because now you can actually see the finish line, close enough to touch. The entire day becomes a blur. Calls, messages, negotiations, partnerships. Your phone never stops buzzing. The momentum from day 6 keeps everything moving. One conversation leads to another. One opportunity unlocks the next. And slowly, the numbers start climbing. $700,000, $800,000, $900,000. Each update sends a jolt through you. For the first time, the $1 million goal feels real. Not a dream, not a fantasy. Real. Then something unexpected happens. You stop thinking about the money and start thinking about the journey. Between calls and notifications, your mind drifts back. You think about day 1, that lonely dollar, the doubt, the rejection, the ignored messages, the moments you almost quit, the times nobody believed anything would come from this. And suddenly, you realize something. The dollar never mattered. The real challenge was never about money. It was about becoming resourceful, learning how to solve problems, learning how to keep going when things weren't working, learning how to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. The money was just keeping score. As the clock keeps ticking, one final opportunity appears, one final deal, one final push. You watch the numbers update. $950,000, then $980,000, then $995,000. Your heart is pounding. The seconds feel longer than they should. Then finally, it happens. $1 million. Exactly $1 million. For a moment, everything goes quiet. You just sit there staring at the screen, not celebrating, not shouting, just smiling. A calm, satisfied smile. Because the number isn't what matters. What matters is who you became while chasing it. The challenge is over, but the lesson stays with you. Because if you could go from $1 to $1 million, then the real asset was never the dollar. It was your ability to think, to adapt, to learn, and to keep moving when everyone else would have stopped. And that's what changes everything. The challenge ends. But the most important thing isn't the $1 million. It's that the world looks different now. A week ago, you saw a single dollar. Now you see leverage, connections, ideas, and possibilities hiding in plain sight. Nothing around you changed. You did. That's the transformation. The $1 million was never the destination. It was proof that once your perspective expands, opportunities appear where obstacles used to be. And after you've seen that, it's impossible to go back to seeing just a dollar.